Mr. Buttle, you ready?
I had to delete some of the other tape, you know what I mean? Just to...
Yeah,
that shouldn't exist in the world.
No, it definitely should not.
Right.
Well, actually, maybe it should. So welcome to Unlucky Week 13 of PIX on Pigskin from the PIX 11 Sports Department, high above 42nd Street, right here in the heart of New York City. Last week was Lucky Week 12 for the Jets and Giants. Let's see what happens this week. I am your host, Todd Ehrlich, the executive producer of the PIX 11 Sports Department. With us today is the bored, yet brutal, single-season record holder for tackles in the storied history of Penn State, a member of the New York Jets all-time team, our linebacker, Greg Buttle.
We'll put the applause in there.
Yeah, you added that. Absolutely. We're also joined by the host of the New York Blitz and a flagship member of my all-time broadcast team,
Oh,
Joe
wow.
Masseri.
Wow, who else is on this broadcast team?
Well,
we'll do that.
You're the captain.
We'll save it
do
for
that. Yeah,
another.
that'll be another time. So Joe likes a rundown for the show so people know what to expect. To play or not to play, that is the question for the Giants quarterback, Daniel Jones. We'll take a look at that. The Jets quarterback didn't have to play well to get a win last week deep in the heart of Texas. But if they're going to steal Philly's heart this weekend, he may have to step up his game a little bit. Both teams have high draft picks and young quarterbacks. We'll look ahead to see who our experts, that's you two, think either team should think about taking, or should they keep their two young quarterbacks.
Sounds like a great show.
It does.
First of all, I want to ask you,
listen to
here's
it.
just a stupid question that is ridiculous with a comment, and that is that you made a comment. He didn't play well, but they won anyway.
He didn't.
But they won anyway.
They did.
Is there a difference? I
It's
mean,
a
how many
team
quarterbacks?
game. It's a team game.
That's right. So why are you thinking he didn't play well? Why'd you leave
because
if he didn't play well?
Because we're looking at his return. He
How do you
returned.
know he played well enough to win?
No, the team
Oh, he
played
did?
well. The team played well enough.
No, but only
to win.
when they lose, it's the quarterback's
That's
fault.
not true.
Well, that's what
He
you're
could-
indicating.
No, I would never indicate
Well, I don't
that.
think that's true. We talked about the Jets defense, but let's get into it.
Yeah, let's dig deep. So let's take a look at the Jets game coming up and their rookie quarterback. He did return from injury. He did return triumphant in Houston. It was a run-heavy approach. Do you, Greg Buttle, think they will continue with that, and as part of it to keep him healthy?
Continue with.
The
Running the
run-heavy
ball.
attack.
Okay, so you talk about run heavy, right? It was run heavy. They ran the ball 34 times.
How many times on first down?
31.
Are they predictable?
I would think that would be predictable.
Is that good?
I don't
As a
know. They
middle
won the
linebacker?
game.
Oh, so you think it is good?
No, I didn't say
so,
that.
So you were impressed with their
No,
offense?
no,
I just want to make sure.
No, they were
I
down
want people
14
be
to
clear.
3. They were down 14 to 3. They didn't come back and win because they ran the ball well. They came back because Zach Wilson threw the ball well enough.
Well
win.
enough.
That's
on
correct.
Second and third down.
They were down 14 to 3 in the first half. No one in the
So
in the
3
stadium in the world
points in
thought
the
they were going to
first
come
half.
back.
3
Okay.
points. Is that good?
No, because they got the touchdown and the 2-point conversion before halftime.
Right.
Yes,
So
but
they went
deep,
into-
he was saying he wasn't wrong. He was saying deep into the first half.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
so
my
I mean-
thing is they came back and they scored the touchdown at the end of the first half. The 2-point conversion was huge, which was great.
Why bring Josh Johnson in on that play, by the way? What was the thinking there?
All I can tell you is that you have a quarterback that kind of has a knee injury. I think he went out of the game in the first half. I can't remember.
He
Was it
did for a
first
couple
half?
plays,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, because he thought he hurt his knee. So that's why I
Yes.
would bring the other quarterback in who is 100%. They still don't know, did he hurt his knee? Did he hurt his leg? Was he scared? You don't know. And by the way, that happens a lot. Coming off of an injury, you hit it, and now all of a sudden, it's like we talked about that one play. You need to know one play.
Right.
When you take a hit on it, and you go, oh, I don't know if it's good. Oh, it's not that bad. Okay, So I think that's why they put Josh Johnson in. The second time they did it, they used Zach Wilson, who ran the same exact play and cut it back exactly the way Josh Johnson did. But anyway, I don't think it was run heavy. I think that it was run heavy on first down. I don't think if I
Do
were
you
to
think
average
this was
it,
a conservative game plan, though, this week? offensively against the Texans?
Let me put it this way. I'm not so sure it was a conservative game plan, but I would say it was a conservative way to manage the game for a quarterback that coming off of an injury and coming off of a 4-interception game. I think that's what it was. So let's just draw it back a little. And we talk about vision of a quarterback, and I've always said this. The great quarterbacks have vision. You can't coach vision. You've got to see it. You've got to understand it. From a coach's perspective, you've got to recognize that he's got vision. And how do I develop the vision better than it is? Because the pro game is so much different than the college game. So Mike Lafleur, who I think is doing a great job. I got to tell you, I like Lafleur. Maybe because he's pass heavy, as you like to say. But I think I like the fact that let the kid make mistakes. The pressure's not on the kid making a lot of mistakes because they believe he's got the constitution to do it and come back and say, all right, tough, let's go to the next game.
And learn from it.
Right. So I think if you can do that in the first year and you get all of that on film and you can say, look, this is what you did wrong here. Oh, look how great it was over here. You can only go so much with a quarterback game manager.
All right, but wait a minute here, because he says that he's not trusting what he sees out there. Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is saying that he's not trusting what he sees out there and that he's got to trust his reads on the field, and that's why he's not making some of these throws or he's double pumping or whatever it is. Is that then how big of a concern is that at this point, given the fact that he had time to sit back and watch, given the fact that you said they're okay with him making mistakes, so he's not going out there and letting it rip. He's in his head.
You know what the problem is that if you're not sure of the read, you're 0.2 of a second late.
Right.
And NFL, that's an interception.
Yeah.
Right. So my thing is that let them get comfortable in timing of throwing the pass. And I got to tell you something. When they say throw the check down, you know the check down's going to be open. So you know that the check down's going to take 3 seconds. If you don't have 3 seconds to throw the ball,
all right,
you got a problem.
Right.
Yeah,
and the Jets have had a huge problem with that. It's not about 2.8 seconds. Is a lot of time. 2.5 is not a lot of time. In terms of what 2.5 is. For a quarterback, if you get the ball out of your hands in 2.5 seconds, you're not getting sacked. You may get hit, but not getting sacked. I think that when it comes down to vision of a quarterback, the vision is not just on a receiver. The vision is on what did I see beforehand? What does it say in my frontal lobe? And now I'm going to say, okay, I've got to get the ball out in 2.5 seconds. So I know I'm going at this guy. If I happen to wait and it's good, I have good protection, I just bought a half a second. Okay.
But you're
that's
saying
the vision I'm talking about.
But you're saying Lafleur is saying go out there, make mistakes, right? We're not going to worry about it. Wilson has clearly made some mistakes before he left with his injury. He was leading the league in interceptions. I think that's gotten to him in his head because he's going out now and he's not trusting the read. He's not letting it rip because maybe some of the defenses schemed and fooled him with that first read, and so now he's hesitant, and he's not by his own admission, this isn't something that I'm just pulling up or I'm watching game. He's saying he is not trusting what he sees out there. So if that's true, that Lafleur is saying, hey, kid, go out there, let it rip, don't worry about the mistakes, we're going to learn from this, Wilson isn't practicing it out there by his own admission.
Out there in the game.
Right.
Tough to practice it in practice. Just so you understand.
So
you want him to have vision in practice. You could have vision in practice.
I want him to go out there and have conviction in his throws.
No. You're talking about when he says I hesitate or I don't believe. That means as the ball's not coming out when it should, because that's not the way he played in college. The ball is sitting around, wait for the guy to break and then throw the ball.
Right. Wait till he's open and then throw it down instead of
throwing him open.
Right. So here that comes to a good point of throwing somebody open. And you see a lot of quarterbacks do that and get away with murder because it's a pass interference or the guy makes a handed catch or, Andrews falls on the ground and makes a one-handed catch against. Oh, my, you got to be kidding me. I mean, so that in and of itself, gives a quarterback and go, Lamar Jackson just throws it down the field and anyone will catch it. And sometimes that's true because Lamar Jackson's not the greatest passer in the history of football. And maybe Zach Wilson isn't either. But you've got to put yourself in the position that before the snap of the ball, you have a pretty good idea where your ball's going.
So why don't you run the same offense they're running in Miami? You talk about it all the time. The running game can be a horizontal passing game. With Tua, he's getting it out in 2.5, and he's throwing the checkdowns and the little
Wide
dump up-
receiver screens,
yes,
things like that.
Yes. And why can't you do that with Zach? It's only his sixth start, and start building his confidence from the ground up. And then maybe you split the field in half. So his first three reads are long, medium, and short. But, you get him into a little bit of a rhythm and you get confidence.
Maybe he's trying to do that. Maybe LaFleur's
I
trying
don't
to do that.
see that.
You wouldn't see it.
You should see it. You're
wouldn't
not
see
asking
that.
him to make a read. If he drops back and throws it in 2 seconds, a wide receiver screen, you don't need to, he doesn't have to be open. It's not taking time to do that. That's the scheme of the offense. And that's what Tua is doing, and he's being successful at it.
Well, here's the difference when you throw a wide receiver screen.
Yes.
Most of the time, the quarterback comes up and sees it and goes bang.
Yes.
It's a run play.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe he's not allowed to do that.
So is that Lafleur that's
I don't know whether would I allow him to do that or not, because you see the right defense at the right time. So now he's got to get comfortable. Is he seeing the right defense?
But let me
at the
ask you
right
something,
time?
though.
Is he seeing the blitz at the right time? Or maybe he's not seeing the blitz. And by the way, that's big.
But that negates the blitz. If he's throwing a wide receiver screen, the blitz isn't going to get there.
And it goes to the trust issues and him having confidence in
That's
what
what
he
I'm
sees
saying.
out there. Because if he's not confident in throws, if he comes up, he sees the defense is playing off, and if he doesn't have the freedom to say, hey, I'm going to check this and I'm just going to throw hot to my wide receiver out there who's got the cornerback playing 10 yards off him, if he doesn't have that freedom, then all of a sudden everything that he's thinking
Is in his head.
Right.
I don't necessarily know that he has the freedom or not. I mean,
Would you give him the freedom?
I would.
You would at this
Right,
point.
the quarterbacks are the ones that win you the games.
Right.
What do you think? The running back's winning you the games?
Who wins you games?
The quarterback.
You just yelled at me about that.
Quarterback
Didn't you
wins
yell
you.
at me about that?
Well, no, he
At the beginning of this?
he
What
yelled
did
at
I
you.
say?
He yelled
I
at
know
you
I got
because
yelled
you
at
said
for
he
something.
didn't play
'Cause you don't
well.
listen.
I do
It's because
listen.
No. He yelled at you because of what he just said. They won. That's all that matters. They get the credit for winning the game, and you said he didn't play well in a win. I guess a quarterback can't play poorly in a win.
But Zach did.
No,
I said that at the beginning.
But he
Can I
won.
go back to my
But he
paper?
won.
Can I
So-
ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Tom Brady played poorly in a win in the championship game, but they won anyway, despite Tom Brady.
What?
Oh, you didn't see the
This
game
is
against
sacrilege.
just-
You didn't see the game against Green Bay?
I did see that game.
If it
against
wasn't
Green
for
Bay.
his defense, he wouldn't have been in that Super Bowl because their defense outplayed the Green Bay Packer defense. So Tom
True.
Brady was intercepted 3 times or whatever it was, but their defense came back and changed it. Or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wouldn't have been a Super Bowl champ. That quarterback played bad. Now, or he didn't play up to snuff, or he certainly didn't play Tom Brady-esque. All right, so
That's fair.
When do you say, well, it's the quarterback's fault? And everyone, again, there's so much pressure on the quarterback to do well, and it's his fault if he does poorly. And so all I'm getting at is, I'll take a win with a quarterback that plays okay or doesn't play well in that win. I'll take that all day, and every NFL player would at the same time. Because you think, all right, he'll play better the next time, and then if he does play better, we won't be in that situation anyway.
Or this is a better situation because he didn't lose the game for
Right.
them.
But I mean, I feel like the fundamental difference
Look,
here, the fundamental difference, Mr. Buttle, is all you care about is wins and losses. I care about the progress of this kid, and that's what I'm looking for.
I
It's
know.
amazing
You see
how
that?
we've come all 180 degrees this season.
Because I've had to bring him along
It's
slowly.
nice to
you know?
you've educated. At least he's a
I'm
good student.
listening. You said I don't listen.
great
This is a
student.
process.
It's
Right.
a beautiful.
Bringing him along
Clearly,
is a
I'm
process.
listening.
Okay, so anyway, I think that
It's just-
he didn't have to play that well. He just didn't have to lose the game. And again, one of the biggest things in that last game, people just overlook it. They were down 14-3, and he brought the team back. You can call it play calling. You could call it this player. You can call it that player. But did anybody have the confidence that Zach Wilson was going to bring his team back?
No, I thought the game was over. I'm
right,
not
2
going to lie.
touchdown deficit. So to me, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And you know
agreed.
what? You can go into the next game knowing, you know what? I'm not afraid to make that read. I'll make that read next time.
Okay, and how do you feel about him running for the touchdown? He's got the bad knee. I don't know if that's really to expose him like that.
You want to be exposed, okay? There's no bigger position to be exposed on than quarterback. On a
Well, not in
drop-back
today's
pass.
game.
And a drop back pass.
In today's game, where the quarterback has a blanket around them,
you
and
can get fallen on and get hurt.
right, and get a flag.
Roll up on
So,
his knees.
I mean, those guys are big. So to me, running it to the edge on a 4-yard RPO, I mean, how many quarterbacks have been hurt on those plays?
But he's got a bad knee.
Daniel Jones last
Hurry,
week.
let
on
me tell you
that.
something.
Last week on the second play, but also the concussion against the Cowgirls.
If he had a bad knee, they wouldn't have been playing him.
That's my argument. I agree with you 100% there. Like he can't if you're going to be out there, then you got to play, right? Like 100%. And if there's any question, say what you want. Look at Baker Mayfield. Like they're keeping him together with Scotch tape and bubble gum, but he's out there and he's playing. And if you're going to be out there, the excuses go out the window and you got to play.
Yeah, but it's not excuses. It's about preserving your young
if
quarterback.
No, but it's not. Then you don't play him. If you're worried, if you play scared, you're going to get hurt. It's like him throwing the ball.
Scared on this podcast.
Right. If you play as scared, you're going to get hurt.
There you go.
And so it's the same thing with his throws. If you put that if that's in your mind as a coach or a player, I mean, come on. Am I wrong on this, Greg?
No, I think that you happen to be 100% right.
Wow.
You step on the field.
100%, Joe? Yeah. I think you're 99% right.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Magna.
That's 199%. Not summa cum laude?
No,
Is that
Magna.
the other one?
Yeah.
Do you go to Stanford?
No.
Oh, that was the other one. Okay. Now, Mr. Buttle, obviously you know about the ghost because you work at MetLife Stadium. Sam Darnold spoke to you about it quite a bit. Jalen Hurts was hurt a little bit last week by the Giants defense, giving up 3 interceptions. Do you think that the Jets defense can take advantage of Jalen?
If he's hurt, yeah, I think they can. Not because someone said he sees ghosts or someone made that up. I don't think that the kid's going to see ghosts. I don't buy that. I think that it was used as a metaphor, a simile by Sam Darnold, and it just was. So
you don't think Jimmy Hoff?
No.
No, that was the other stadium. That was Giants Stadium. He didn't move over to MetLife?
No, he's in Bayonne somewhere.
Oh, he is? Okay, good.
The opportunities if it was a visiting quarterback, they could have had Halloween ghost tours. It would have been a beautiful thing.
It would have been great. But all I'm saying is that I think Jalen Hurts is more than capable. The only question is how capable is his ankle? I mean, is it 50%? Is it 70%? Is it 90%?
If he's playing, he's got to play 100%.
Well, no.
my point.
No, it's not that he's going to play at 100%. Is that you can't go out there and put these restrictions on him. You have to run the plays and call the plays as if he's 100%.
Right. The only thing you may say to him is,
go out of bounds.
Listen. If you're going to take the sack, go down. Don't put yourself in a position where you're running and someone jumps on your ankle. So those are the things that are at issue. If he's running with a limp, then I'd say it's not playable. He shouldn't be playing, and maybe Minshew will play instead.
So last week the Jets defensive front played well, put pressure on the Texans. Jalen last week, his stats: 14 for 31, 129 yards, no touchdowns, 3 passes to the guys in blue. Do you think the pressure that the Jets defense could put on might be able to be the key to them getting a win this weekend?
Well, and again, I didn't watch the Giant game. So was it pressure by their defensive line, or was it the fact that the quarterback was hurt, or was it the fact that they're right? I mean, guys get in a situation where you start pressing, and the Eagles still could have won the game at the last play. But so I don't know the answers to all of those things. I don't know the questions to all of them. So when you look at Jalen Hurts, and that's really what we're talking about, is I think that the Jets' defensive line, if they play like they played last week for 60 minutes, the Jets should have their way with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow. Their way?
Their way with the Philadelphia
Their way.
But how do you think they can play that way against this offensive line? Because, I mean, what they've been able to do running the ball, they've been a different team since Jordan Howard got in there. And
let me just stop you for a second,
Sure.
because we're going to get into that running nonsense. The quarterback is the reason they're the number 1 rushing team in the league. That's number 1.
Yes.
Number 2 is they're 5-7 and they're the number 1 rushing team in the league. It doesn't mean that that just because you're that good at rushing the ball, you're going to win. there's when it gets into analytics and stats and stuff, I'll take one touchdown pass to a wide receiver over 15 rushes and a touchdown by a running back, because he's going to have to rush the ball 30 times to score 2 touchdowns. My guy only has to catch it twice to score 2 touchdowns. So to me, throwing the ball is the easiest form of scoring, particularly with the rules in the NFL. Running the ball is not. You want to run the ball and you want to keep the game close and you hope that your defense can do what it's supposed to do at the end of the game. You're taking a shot.
Right.
I almost used to say it was like an onside kick. When onside kicks, you could recover. Today, you can't even recover an onside kick. Although I did see it over the.
It was called back though.
That was awesome. But my thing
It was
is
a penalty.
like,
They were cheating.
the running the ball to me. Running the ball to me is no indication, particularly yards per carry. It correlates to winning. It doesn't. The only time it correlates is by carries, where you can look at that and say, okay, and this is why teams I think most offensive coordinators want to run the ball at least 30 times. Why? Because the more you run the ball, the more clock eats up,
Yep.
and most of the time you're doing that in the fourth quarter,
Yep. Wearing
sacking the
teeth
game
down.
away.
Yep.
So that gives you an advantage. It doesn't mean if you run the ball 30 times you're going to win. But
Used to.
it used to, sure, but that's when Bob
Back in
Greasy
your
was throwing
day.
the ball 12 times a game.
Yeah.
In those days, this early 70s, they didn't throw the ball that much. Maybe John Hadel did in San Diego, but it wasn't a passing league until Namath started to throw it all over the line.
Eric Coryell.
Right. So my thing is the running game is not impressive to me. And by the way, you can run the ball and gain 50 yards and not
But
score.
can you say that? I get that, right, in theory. But look in practice, right?
No, that's not in theory.
but
Those are backed up by hard.
But don't you
numbers.
believe things go in waves, right? Like we've seen things change over time. Right now, I mean, if you look at what the Eagles are doing, since Jordan Howard has been inserted into that backfield and getting carries, that's when this running game really took off to the level that it has, when they started this 200 yards per game. And then if you look at what the Patriots are doing right now. They are pounding the ball and they're not turning it over, right? We've seen this. The Titans before Derrick Henry went out, it was all predicated by what he was able to do to open up things for the wide receivers out there.
The correlation is not running the ball. The correlation is running the ball and having a good defense. Now that's a correlation.
Right. I think you need both of those things.
Right. So my thing is you think the Eagles defense is that great? I don't think so. If it was that great, they wouldn't be 5-7.
Right.
They'd probably be 7-5. The Patriot defense, pretty good defense.
Yeah.
They were 2-4 with that pretty good defense.
Right.
But now they found out, okay, listen, what we're going to do, we're just going to throw the ball when we need to.
But I mean, look, there's still something about if you have the ball and you're controlling the clock, the other team is not scoring, right? And that at the very least, look at what Washington did. I know I'm calling out your football team.
As you should.
Against the Buccaneers, they had a 10-minute
them.
drive to keep
To
Tom
ice
Brady
the
off the
game.
field. Even last week on the Monday
Yep.
Night Football game, and yes, they almost lost that there.
But that was a
you're quoting
touchdown,
me.
Joe. That
You're
was a
quoting me.
touchdown. He's backing you up.
You're
As he
backing what I'm
should.
saying up.
As he should.
They didn't. They ran the ball in the fourth quarter for whatever it was. Okay, they ran the ball. They controlled the clock, and that's what you do if you can run the ball at that time in the game. But none of the other runs that they ever did during the game meant anything. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were right there. What happened was the defense played. Brady threw an interception. Am I wrong or right? Didn't he throw an interception?
He threw a couple in that game, I think.
So all I'm saying is, listen, everyone sneers at me when I say the running game means nothing, and I really do mean it, except if you're trying to stash the game away,
Yes.
short yardage and goal line.
Yes.
You've got to run the ball there. And by the way, at that you can average 2 yards a carry and still score.
Sure, of
Get the
course.
first down. But you can't look at a way a team runs the ball because Lamar Jackson runs all the plays for all of a sudden the Ravens are a great rushing team. Lamar Jackson is. Jalen Hurts, he's the guy.
Right.
I mean, so when you look at all of this stuff, take that out of here. That's a quarterback. No one accounts for the quarterback on defense. Nobody.
Right.
So it's really 11 on 10. And so now if you set up all your defenses like that, oh, that guy gets off. Oh, he's 50 yards downfield. So my thing is that you can watch the Kansas City Chiefs, Well, don't run the ball. You can say whatever you want to say and say, oh boy, did you see Kareem Hunt, or did you see this running back? He ran it for 157 yards. He didn't score a touchdown on it. And by the way, they're down 18 to 6.
Right.
And how do they win? They throw the ball over the lot in the fourth quarter and so on.
Right.
So to me is that there's no question in my mind that if you want to run the game, if you want to run the ball, and you go, oh, we got to run the ball, you don't have to do it until the fourth quarter if the game is close. Then you can run the ball.
So let me ask you this then, because we hear the old cliche all the time that they're like body punches, right? These runs earlier in the game set up for the fourth quarter because it wears down the defense and all that stuff. Do you believe that's true at all?
I would say the game is physical, okay? You can be physical in the passing game as well as you can in the running game. But in the running game, what's happening is now you're getting all the big fat guys double teamed. I don't want to get into physiology, but physiology gives the offense a distinct advantage, particularly in the passing game. And now you have these guys that are throwing everything left and right. It's a horizontal game. So all the fat guys are going, oh, stop it and run. And all of a sudden, by the time the fourth quarter comes around,
they're sucking wind.
Yeah. So my thing is they're tired from running around, trying to catch the quarterback, running around against screens. That's why all these slip screens and quick screens.
So you think that West Coast, that edge to edge, making the defensive line go east to west, is just as effective at wearing them out as a running game early in the game?
100%. 100%. I, as a football player, would rather you run the ball every play. You run it every play. I'll beat you up more than you're going to beat me up. All right. So I mean that's when you get into a mindset, the thing is that it's easier to stop the run than it is to stop the pass. The rules are built for them to throw the ball and throw it to everybody. Run the ball. I don't know why you would even. I don't know why you would go out and get a running back number one in the draft.
How about number 2?
I wouldn't do it either. Can I tell you something? Is there anything wrong with the Jets running backs?
No. Well, other than Michael Carter being hurt.
Right.
So
well, Michael Carter's hurt. So what happened? Did you miss him last game?
seemingly not.
Seemingly not. And I'm not debasing the kid. I'm just trying to bring you up to speed on the importance of the run game is not the runner. The importance of the run game is timing in the game and carries. That's what it's about. That's why you can have 3 guys with 15 carries.
Well, I'll agree with you.
Carries.
No, I'll agree with you wholeheartedly on that. The idea, which is why I think what Derrick Henry does is that much more incredible, because the days of a workhorse, a bell cow back, are just gone, and they have been for some time. And that makes sense too, because if you've got 3 guys back there who have fresh legs then, and they're all getting 10 to 15 carries a game, in the fourth quarter, those legs are a heck of a lot fresher than the defensive linemen who aren't getting swapped out as much, although we're seeing a lot more with those linemen getting swapped out.
It's like, I've always said it, like Derrick Henry, what a wonderful player he is. I would be the first one to tell you, if I wanted a running back, that's who I would grab. But you got to get him beat up for 3.5 quarters to make it any difference, because you get to the game, and what is the game? The games are mostly close, and that's how the coaches want to be. They want to be close. They don't want to blow out. They don't want to step out of their little niche that they do. Keep it close, play hard defense, run the ball. You've heard that from 1,000 coaches. I'm not so sure that takes place today, unless you have a defense that's top 5 in 5 categories. Then I think you could do that all day.
Right.
The Jets got away with it with Mark Sanchez when Rex Ryan was head coach. They got away doing that because their defense was so good.
Was he a defensive coach, Rex Ryan?
I think
he and Salo, didn't they? I don't know. I digress.
No, but I'm just telling you is that if you can get a defense like that, and that's what Salo would like, then I can run it any time I want. Yeah. I don't have to depend on the run, but man, then I can run it, and I'm not afraid of going 3 and out. I'll get that defense back on the field. So my thing is it's all about what the game is, and it's not about play calling, because play calls are changed all the time. It's about players and them executing. That's what this game's about.
Okay, prediction time. Jets are flying high, 1-game win streak. The Eagles are not flying as high. They're 0-1 in MetLife Stadium in the last week. They come up. Mr. Buttle, you are no longer commitment phobic. What's your prediction?
I like Zach Willie this week. I think
Good,
he
man.
played.
Zach Willie,
I think he
love it.
played a lot
That
better
was
than
week
people
one on
give
the
him
Blitz.
credit. I think he played a lot better than people give him credit for. And again, within context of what that game was,
people.
he's down 14-3, and there's nobody in the United States that
Not
thought
Joe.
Zach Wilson was going to bring them back.
Right.
You got to give him credit because he was the quarterback, right? He might have played,
Well,
played great.
not on the
2-point
Josh
conversion.
Johnson. Yeah. But,
Well, what
okay.
I'm saying is so I like the Jets this way. I like to see them. I think that they're getting to a point where they're getting it. All right? Now,
Nice.
I don't know about the defense is going to play, but I think that's it.
I think that this is a good matchup for the Jets because everything is predicated on the run game for Philly, and I think that we've said it throughout the season. Their secondary hasn't been recognizing maybe some stuff and maybe has part of the reason they're getting beat on the back end. I don't think that Philadelphia has the wide receivers to take advantage of that, and I don't think that the game plan from the passing standpoint will be as complex for them. I think they'll be able to focus more on the run. I think they'll be able to contain it, and so I think this game will be a really close one. I'm going to go with the Jets to have a little momentum here and get their first winning streak of the season.
Wow.
Get their first victory over Philadelphia.
So it's unanimous. Yes.
They haven't
So-
beaten them.
Yeah, they haven't. They will now.
There you go.
Check that off their bucket list. Jets with an easy win this weekend at MetLife. You won't need the running game in the fourth quarter, Mr. Buttle. So now, moving on to the Giants. They've won 3 of their last 5 games, but they managed just 13 points against the Eagles under new offensive coordinator Freddie Kitchens. And as of the taping of this particular podcast, we're not sure who's going to be at the helm. Joe, do you see, would you let Daniel Jones play? Well, actually, he wasn't healthy last week. He got hurt on the second play of the game.
Absolutely. So he played the whole game.
Right.
And if he was good enough to stay in that game, I think that he'll be fine for this week. And
Me
I
too.
would let him play. Look, we had the questions about should he be coming back after the concussion when as quickly as he did, and was that an issue? He seemed okay talking to the media over there
He
earlier
was
this
turning
week.
his head left or right.
It didn't seem like he was. He wasn't in a neck brace, you
No.
know, or anything like that. Even as a precaution, like I don't mean to say that tongue in cheek, but like there didn't seem to be too many precautions around him. Now he was limited in practice, but if he is again, if he's good to go, you got to go and just let him play and take the reins off out there. And I don't think that they have a shot without him. I think he is a game changer, and I don't think he gets enough credit for his athleticism back there. We talked about time to throw. Yes, he still makes some mistakes, but the guy's under pressure so much that I think that's contributed to his mistakes. He keeps plays alive with his legs, and they're getting things together. They're gelling. He clearly wants to be out there if they're going to make a playoff push.
So, Mr. Buttle, the NFL is often referred to as a week-to-week league. This week, the Giants travel to Miami and take on the Dolphins, who've won 4 in a row after losing 7 straight. What are your expectations against Tua and the Dolphins?
I think the Dolphins have some good skill players. I really do. I think Tagovailoa is a little better than people give him credit for. Although if you look back in historically speaking, you'd say, why didn't they take Herbert? And I'm sitting there. It is what it is. Maybe it works. This type of a quarterback is what they wanted in their offense, as opposed to just a straight drop back with Herbert. But so my thing is I like the Dolphins. They really do show grit, and they do play for 60 minutes. We've seen that up in front and personal. It doesn't make them a great football team. It doesn't. They're a good football team. But they have periods where they don't do things right. Again, they have mental errors out on the football field. If you can take advantage of them, don't turn the ball over against them, because if you do, you're not going to beat them. I think their defense is good enough like that. I think that it's a tough game when even if the Giants were home, I think it'd be a tough game. In fact, they might pull it out. Or I don't know. Again, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. But down in Miami, on the road, in the heat, I'm not so sure the advantage is with the Giants. I think the advantage is with the Dolphins.
Let me ask you, how much, because we were talking about this before the podcast a little bit here, how much of an advantage is that weather at this time of year when you're going down there playing in Miami? I don't know what the forecast is calling for, but let's call it high
and humid.
70s to low 80s this time of year.
I'll tell you, let me explain it to you.
Yeah.
70 degrees in Miami is a heat wave to 40 degrees in New York. It's a heat wave. Your body temperature is up. You are burning up. You need to hydrate yourself. And if you get in that game where that's a close game, even if it's a close game, I think the Giants lose because the Dolphins are used to the heat and they're not going to be as tired as the Giants. I'm just saying.
But down the I mean, so like if you're going to have to play, let's say this game's always going to be played in Miami regardless of the time of year. Is it less of an advantage now? Because my thinking would be yes, versus if you have to play them in September and it's 95 degrees down there and it's, 75 degrees down here, or now it being 40 and 70. Like, you're always going to have that temperature difference when you go down to Miami regardless of the time of year.
It's not about the temperature difference in time of year. It's about oxygen to your blood. And when you can cool yourself, I've said this 1,000 times, it's a lot easier to get cool than it is to get warm. If you're playing in Green Bay and it's 10 below, you're not getting warm. You're not getting warm. You can have everything on the sun, you're not getting warm. But you can always pour. You can always pour. You can always pour cold water down your throat, down your neck,
right,
which cools you down. But that only goes for so long because now you're getting tired. Your body's not used to the heat, and if you're on the field for a longer time, it's not used to it. And by the way, that's the one thing about traveling, is are you used to anything? Are you used to the time difference? Are you used to flying? You're getting dehydrated. Once you go up into altitude, you dehydrate yourself. So already you're at a disadvantage. So my thing is that you can do anything you want. The only thing you can't do is get down by a touchdown with 6 minutes to go, and they have the ball. You got a problem.
Houston, you have a problem. So, Greg, I don't know if you have any opinions on the running game, but I do have a question on it. So we'll see if we can, pull something out of you. Saquon Barkley, the number 2 pick in the draft overall, only 40 yards on 13 carries. He got 32 of them on 1 carry. That means he ran the ball 12 times for a paltry 8 yards. What can the Giants do to try to get him going so they have some diversity on offense?
Throw the ball to him.
Ah.
Don't run him the ball. Throw the ball to him.
Ah.
Check him down. Check him down. Make him tire those guys out because he will. It may be a 7-yard gain, but I'm going to tell you something. In the third or fourth quarter, when the screen pass goes to him, it's a touchdown. So I throw the ball to him. I wouldn't run him that much. I run the other guy that you don't pay. Use this guy and throw the ball to him. The guy's good out of the backfield. He's an athlete. He's tough to bring down in the open field. Anybody can bring him down from inside the tackles. He's not a monster, but he's got great athletic ability and great feet, and he's an athlete. Man, that's what scares you.
And huge thighs.
Yeah, he doesn't skip leg day.
I know, but a lot of guys do.
Not like that. Like the size of your waist.
Oh, he's got a 42 thigh?
He does. I think 41, actually, just slightly smaller.
Oh,
so, Joe, if the Giants are going to win, I think the defense has to step up again. If you take a look back, for the last 5 games, they've given up 20 points or less. Can they continue that against the red-hot Dolphins?
Absolutely, because even with the Dolphins winning, their offense hasn't stood out in any of these games, really, that they've played. I mean, you look at that win on against the Ravens on Thursday Night Football. I think it was a defensive turnover late in the game that scored the first touchdown. So their offense hasn't exactly been moving the ball up and down the field. And it's so funny to me because these two teams seem like mirror images of each other. And they both...
What?
They both...
Not a quarterback, they don't.
I think they're very similar. I think they really are very similar. I think they have.
Talk.
I will let them talk.
I think they both
Joe,
have athletic quarterbacks who miss throws sometimes. I think that they both have They both have solid players at the skill positions that haven't been taken advantage of enough. They both are predicated on their defense primarily, which starts from both of their secondaries and comes down. And you look at their coaches; they spent 7 years together in New England.
Sure.
So look, this is a game where you expect it to be a defensive battle, and both of these teams
match for sure
to struggle
between the two coaches. Absolutely. So, Mr. Buttle, the Giants defense picked off former Alabama quarterback Jalen Hurts 3 times on Sunday and have at least 1 interception 8 straight games. Pretty darn good. They face another Crimson Tide quarterback in Tua this weekend. Can the streak continue?
Well, first of all, it doesn't matter how the Giants defense plays. It's all about the Giants offense.
It's the Rock.
And you know what? The Giants defense played good. They held if they don't hold the Eagles to 7 points, they lose the game. I mean, come on. So the Giants defense is okay. It's not great. It's okay. They gave up. It looked like 2 touchdown passes that were dropped, but I'm just saying. I mean, it happens every week. And you can go out there and get a sack in a game and an interception in a game, but if your offense isn't scoring over 21, 24 points, you're going to lose the game. This was an anomaly. They ended up winning a game 13-7. That being said, is the Giants defense can play great and still lose the game. And so that means nothing to me. They don't want to give up easy plays. They gave up some easy plays against Jalen Hurts, but the easy plays were dropped. I mean, so on one hand, the Giants defense can play, but the biggest deal here is they fired Garrett at offensive coordinator, got a new offensive coordinator in. They scored 13 points, which isn't enough to. How many games can you win 13-7 in the NFL?
One last Sunday.
Right, maybe it was. Now they'd have to do something big to prove it again. So it's all about the offense.
I mean, their defense has been playing great, though. I mean, in all of their wins, I mean, what they gave up.
They've made some big plays.
16 points against the Raiders they gave up, and they had the sack fumble down the stretch to seal that one off. Even in their loss against Kansas City, they gave up 20 points in that one. And really, they had a pick called back for they had a pick called back for an offside. This defense against the Panthers, they had like 6 sacks and won that game for
You're making my point. I'm not disagreeing with you.
But you made the statement that it's
about the offense. It's not about the defense.
But you made the statement that it's an anomaly that they were able to hold a team to 7 points. I mean, they've held a team under 20 points.
I said, how many times can you score 13 points and win a game?
But they've held teams under.
I said, how many times can you score 13 points and win a game? That was my statement. So don't be putting words in my mouth like this guy over there.
I do that. That's my job.
I'm sorry.
Joe.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean
you.
to take your
So
job.
my thing is that I am not disagreeing that the Giants defense has played well. I'm just disagreeing with what's the result. The result means
but the argument that I'm saying is because their offense scored 13 points this week, right? Their offense scored 13 points. In the game against the Raiders, they had a pick 6 by Xavier McKinney. I think they had at least a safety, and they might have scored another touchdown against Carolina. Forgive me.
Those are anomalies.
But there's been a lot of them. Eventually,
there's not a lot of them. There's a couple, but there's not a lot of them. And my thing is that it's so hard to play defense in this league that you can play real good defense like the Giants are or have right now. They're playing good defense. It's not great because it takes the team to drop a couple passes that were wide open.
No,
but my thing is,
last play of the game.
So it's good. I mean, it's good defense. And if you could, I've always said it, play good defense. You should be over 500, and you should be right in a position to make the playoffs. That's what I've said.
So the Giants, 4 of the past 5 games, have given up 20 points or less. They're 4-7, but with the 7th playoff spot, they're right in the playoff mix. How critical of a game is this in Miami to keep them in the mix?
In the immortal words of somebody, huge. It's huge because you know what? You can't afford to lose these games. You still have some good division games left. Don't lose an out of conference game that you have an opportunity to win because Miami's not unbeatable. You can beat the Miami Dolphins. Yeah. So, but you got to play well. You can't turn the ball over. You know, you've got to run the ball well in short yardage and goal line. Can the Giants do that? I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I think that obviously the importance of this game is as important as any game down the stretch for the Giants here. They have a chance right now, I think, to really get a lot of momentum on their side. They obviously beat the Eagles in their last one. They have another game with the Washington football team, who they probably could have beaten earlier in the season. Should have beaten earlier in the season, excuse me. Right now, this is just a game where if you're Joe Judge and you're going to make a case for your job, you have to win this game. You lost the game to the Falcons. That was a similar spot. Like you
Washington, they lost.
Washington. This is a game that they have to go in and win, and I can't put enough stress on that. I mean,
now, let me ask you a question: Do the Giants win the game if the Giants score 18 points
this week? Yes, I think they can.
You do?
Oh, I absolutely think they can.
I see.
Yeah, as long as they don't turn the ball over. I don't see this Miami team struggles to score. Like I just don't understand where the offense is coming from. The key to me is not going to be whether it's not about the Giants. It's not about the Giants' offense scoring as much as it is protecting the ball. I mean, yes, you still need to score to win. I get that, right? But the bigger thing is they can't turn the ball over, right? Because the defense, I don't think Miami's going to score a lot of points on the Giants' defense. That's what I'm trying to say. I think that they're going to be able to limit the amount of scores that the Dolphins get. So the offense doesn't need to do that much to win. We just talked about it in Zach Wilson. Just don't go out there and lose the game. If the Giants offense can go out there, just play well enough, and they can win this game. They can't go out there and lose the game.
If you have a defense that's top 5 in 5 categories, you can tell your quarterback, don't go out there and lose the game.
What do you mean? The Jets don't have a defense that's top 5 in any
you
category.
You got to have a quarterback to go out and win the game.
But they didn't. Zach Wilson didn't go out and win the game for them last week.
Who brought him back from 14-3?
Their defense held them.
No. Now you want it. Now you want it.
Would the Jets have won this week? Wait a minute. No.
You want it both ways.
I know. You have to do a little bit. But the Jets, would the Jets have won this week if they scored 18 points? 18-14? They kicked the field goal. They were winning that.
I don't know. It ended up being that way.
Right.
They're not going to win games like that.
No, it's not going to happen very often. And the way the Jets are built, no, it's definitely not. This Giants defense is better than the Jets defense. All right. It's at this point where they're both at right now. It's a better defense. So
and what does that mean? That
means that they will have the other team. They should prevent the other team from scoring as many points.
Oh, okay. All right.
Look, I'm
cheeseburger.
All right, prediction time.
I don't think the Giants win on the road in Miami. It doesn't mean they wouldn't win at home. I just think it's a tough beat for these two teams that are pretty equal. I would say they're pretty equal. I think the equal team on the home field in the heat wins.
Wow, Joe.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say it. I think Freddie Kitchens is going to draw up a wrinkle that's the difference in this game. Now, that being said, if Daniel Jones could throw a pick to Xavier Howard that he takes back for 6, that it goes that way, and it's the reason that the Giants lose, but it could be the Giants win. I think the Giants are going to win this one. I think that Joe Judge got this team together last year and made a big run down the stretch. I think they're going to do it again this year.
As do I. Mike Glennon, Daniel Jones with the bad neck, doesn't matter.
Oh, my caveat. Wait, no. I'm predicating this on Daniel Jones starting. It does matter who's starting.
And finishing?
Well, I mean, you can never listen. You can't predict what's going to happen during the course of a
cake and eat it too.
He does. He really does.
You can't predict what's going to happen during the course of a football game, but he's got to start the game.
But I can predict who's going to win the football game, and I will. Giants 17, Dolphins 14. Enjoy the games, everybody, and thank you for listening to PIX on Pigskin.
We're going to go grab that cheeseburger?
In paradise.
Unbelievable.